relief, Mrs. Rollins. Try this. Preparation H.
Pain, itching?
Sure, try this.
Preparation
My
H?
nickname should be Preparation H because I really do. Look, I have a whole. I have notes here. You know?
Feeling better today? Thanks to you and Preparation H.
Back in form, Bill?
Thanks to you and Preparation H.
He starts, it's all over, but we don't get mad, baby. The Hulkster just gets even. But I'll be in that ring and I'll be wrestling because I'm not a coward.
Jimmy Hart.
I'm gonna have Jimmy Hart! Jimmy Hart wants, Jimmy Hart gets, man.
Hey, it's me, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Join me on July the 20th at the Plastic City Comic-Con in Leominster, Massachusetts. I'll be at the Hilton Doubletree. Doors open at 10 a.m. Come by, get a picture, get an autograph, say hello.
Good night for a title change.
Indie Comics Relay, guys. What do you think of that fight?
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots and promoter for Plastic City Comic-Con. And with me, as always, Johnny C., creator of Sartana, Surrounded by Death, and The Pond. Who's that for, Johnny?
For my good cousin, Roger Morocco.
Absolutely. And our third co-host, Harry G., graphic artist extraordinaire.
Hey, everybody.
What's going on, fellas?
Not much. Celtics are up ahead. They're winning 34-26.
Yeah.
Go Celtics.
Wait,
It's all clicks and buzzes to me. I don't know
Yeah,
what you're saying there, Harry.
Well, if they win tonight, they win the the whole thing, the championship. So,
Very important night.
banner number 18.
I have some funny stories from today. Like, did you guys knew Fan Expo was this past weekend, right?
Oh yeah, I've
Me
heard
and
nothing but
Johnny-
horror stories.
I got it right from the horse's mouth this morning from my boss at the comic store. Tim.
Oh yeah.
So, oh my God. So I guess like I heard the show. He said the show was okay. Like Friday and Saturday were good. Sunday was a ghost town because of Father's Day.
Mhm.
But where the real like craziness was, like I guess this year Fan Expo hired like the Teamsters to do like the load in and load out, kind of like New York Comic Con does.
Yeah.
And so Tim was telling me, I guess like the Teamsters showed up for the Comic Con, and all of them looked at the job, and 60 guys just quit on the spot. Like, yeah. So they're like, this is too much. We're not doing this. So they just left. And Tim was telling me he got home this morning at 5 a.m. after loadout on Sunday.
What? How does that happen? How does that happen?
Dude,
Look, and I'm being like, that's funny and hysterical for how comically bad that happened. But I'm telling you guys out there right now, if you attended Fan Expo and you ended up staying and didn't get home till 5 a.m. the next morning, you might have a lawsuit on your hands. Don't take it out of your asses. Okay.
Yeah, right?
If you went to Fan Expo, take it out of them because that is ridiculous. Their mismanagement shouldn't be your detriment.
Everybody that was stuck in that should at least have free tables for 5 years, like at least, right? Like, I mean,
something like
insane.
that's ridiculous. I'd take it out of them financially or monetarily or in credit in some way because.
But I picture
goddamn
myself in that position. Like on Sunday, you just want to go home, you want to go to bed, have a meal, and then like retire into your cave for 2 days to recover. Can you imagine having to stay there almost overnight? Like
the Teamsters would have done what? They would have like moved tables in and out, chairs, whatever.
Yeah, it's like a union, like a union kind of like.
So at some of the bigger shows, depending upon the amount of content and material you have to bring in, you have no choice but to hire Teamsters.
Oh, okay.
Or Freeman to load you in and load you out.
Insists on it, I think, right?
Yeah. There's certain things like if you can't bring in your stuff in one load on 2 wheels, you have to hire Freeman by default. So I know San Diego's like that. So I got mad for all those people just hearing that news.
Yeah, right.
Because like again, time is very valuable, right? If you go to a show when you have a tough weekend, that's hard.
And this was at the Heinz too, which is even worse. Yeah.
But then to have that happen, that's even worse. Like, come on.
So they pay crap. Is that why they left? They pay like nothing?
Or they just saw the scope of the job, I think Tim was saying, and just like, they were just 60 guys were like, I'm not doing this. And just
sometimes Comic-Cons can be a little bit too big for their own good.
Yeah.
And unless they have the right things in place, it becomes a bigger job than anybody can handle. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's
to have those. So basically, whoever runs that show, my sympathy goes out to them, but you need to have contingencies in place where your people aren't. That's not happening.
You need to do something to like make up, or something like.
Once those Teamsters ran away, you turn around and you go to another agency and you get them over there as soon as possible. Like you can't have that as your forward. I don't know. We're just spending too much time on this, but
I know.
Fires me up. Like that really fires me. That's a mass grievance that the people who exhibited it at Fan Expo Boston this past weekend should take up. That's all.
Just call James Sokolov right now. Get the number.
I'm telling you, there has got to be some level of
get Sokolov on the line. Yeah, no, definitely. We'll we could talk about mismanagement of cons and all night, But like one thing I would say, if that was a con I ran, like the first thing I would do is reach out to everybody and either offer like some money back or their free tables for next year. Right. At least that.
They can't do that though, because those tables pay for celebrities that are already gone.
That's a problem.
You know what I mean?
But with those guys, they're like
pay Paul.
Right. But those guys are a big corporation though, so they should be,
Well, somebody ain't getting their Christmas bonus.
Yeah.
Sorry to the executives of Fan Expo, but guess what? Timmy ain't getting his Switch 2 this year.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So without further ado, let's bring in tonight's guest, and then we'll zip through the chat and see who's with us tonight.
Let's do this. Well, I'd love to get their opinion on this.
What's that?
I'd love to get their opinion on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Both guests have been on the show, I think, at least once.
Correct.
And it was almost like catching up with everybody again. So I'm going to start with Tim Olson. Hey, Tim. Good to see you, man.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Tim. Good to hear you loud and clear.
Yes, I know. Stupid laptop.
Glad to have you on. And then
all I know is I'm not getting my Twitch. I was going to go with that joke. Damn it.
Oh, the Switch 2?
Switch 2, yeah.
Edit that out.
I'm not getting my Switch 2. All right.
The OLED version? Yeah, hold it. Hang on. And our second guest, Tanner Ogle. Hey, Tanner.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hey, how are you?
So did you guys hear that horror story from Fan Expo?
That's crazy, man.
That's
what are your guys' take on that? Tim, I'll have you go first.
Well, I thought if I had to have more than one person, I just find people that I know.
Can you help?
Hey, I'll buy you guys lunch. Help me load the stuff into my booth.
Yeah, seriously, like Tim probably could have paid a bunch of people to just walk stuff to his van at that point. That's what I would have done or something.
You think that if you're when you have an operation that big, you're gonna hire, especially when you're gonna hire a third party to help you with the manual labor. You got to be straightforward about what they're getting into, and that sounds like that's what the problem is, I mean, it sucks that these guys canceled on them, but obviously there was a lack of communication there, and that's a problem with I don't know, with when stuff gets that big, I guess, it's like you think people aren't paying attention to the details, and that's a huge issue. It's a huge oversight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you
breakdown
can't
in communication between the two parties for sure.
Yeah, and you can't hold it against the union guys for looking at a job and saying like no way, no fucking way, because the vendors were there till 5 a.m., but it would have been those Teamsters that were there till 5 a.m. doing it. If I'm sure it would have been just the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's a tough situation.
Yeah, and you got a whole year to prepare for these things too. Like,
yep.
Obviously, obviously something went wrong.
Yeah.
Well, this affected the guests there, not the guests, but the fans that were walking on. They wouldn't have noticed anything.
The fans know, because the fans just kind of come and go.
Right.
It's like it's just trying to get all those big vendors out, like the ones that are set up, huge comic booths and toys and video games and things like that. T-shirt guys. Those are the guys that got killed with this. Like artists and stuff probably got out.
Yes,
most artists can load their stuff into like a two-wheeler,
Yeah, I've never done a big con. Are these guys are they there to help the vendors essentially? Is that part
What's
of it?
That? The Teamsters?
Yeah,
not really. I mean, they're so a lot of it's like they take all your stuff, they put it on a pallet, and then they bring your pallet to your booth. So you're talking like real retailers, not like us on our level where it's just artists.
But the people that have got like a whole comic book shop on wheels.
Basically people like that, and then I think everybody else, as long as you could wheel it in or can carry it, you were fine and probably got out of there at a decent time, But,
you're trying to tell me Mario Lopez didn't roll up his sleeves and lend a hand to people?
Was he there?
Stupid Mario Lopez.
You're saying Vincent D'Onofrio didn't help them carry out long boxes of comics?
Or Chevy Chase or Randy Quaid?
Well, even I know Chevy Chase would not do that.
Chevy Chase would not do that.
I saw a picture of Randy Quaid, like Tim was showing me one today.
How's he looking?
He looks like, what he looks like? He looks like current day David Letterman. Do you ever see David Letterman now with like
got the beard?
Yeah.
What Randy Quaid looks like? He looks exactly like David Letterman now, which is crazy.
That's
maybe he's in disguise, incognito, because the government's not for him.
Keith, I've got a comment on my Instagram live, which is working. I think it says, "Whoa, I came for Tanner, but that's Keith Gleason from Hero Envy."
Oh, nice. Who is that?
Snap! There you go.
It's my friend.
Wow, that's
my friend Lance.
Yeah, what was his name?
Lance Vincent. He's he's from
probably
Where with me.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a deep cut. I mean, I haven't done Hero Envy stuff in years, so that's great.
We'll have the DVDs.
Oh, was that like a segment on your show or something at one point?
No. I used to be part of a web series, like a webisode series called Hero Envy. It was like an online sitcom, like geek sitcom, and we made about 30 episodes.
Was it is a YouTube thing?
Yeah, it was like back in like 2005. Like that's how far back.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's
back like
when the web series was a big thing. Like every year,
it's like
he's a big YouTube guy. He must have just found it on YouTube. He says he recognizes Johnny from it too. Yeah.
Oh right.
That must be like almost like post white dial up, like when they were phasing out.
Yeah, it was actually in the era when remember when webisodes first became a thing. Like
I remember hearing the term. Yeah.
Yeah, like when was that one that Felicia Day used to do?
Critical Role.
Yeah, something. It's like
that's
Critical
still
Role.
happening. That's still a thing.
No, it was something else. I forget what the hell.
Critical Role.
You know which one I'm talking about.
Critical Role.
I do know what you mean.
I do remember at the time Battlestar Galactica was big, the sci-fi show, because they started doing webisodes. And
not the original one, the remake.
There's a delay. There's a delay here, but Lance said that he was a Joppa fan, and that's how he found it.
Okay, yeah. We did a crossover with those guys for an episode. Yeah. Wow, oh my god. Yeah, I haven't thought about that stuff in a long time. That's great. Mm-hmm. Tell him I said hello. That's great.
Is that
he's watching?
He's watching.
Thanks for watching, man.
Thanks for watching.
Was that when YouTube was starting to get big?
Yeah, it was just at the beginning of it. Yeah, definitely.
And now it has its own TV.
Yeah. Yep, it was like if we stuck with it, we'd probably be like one of the old G original YouTube things, with a huge following now.
Season 35.
Yeah, season exactly.
It's one of those things where you made it, you fell down, and then you made it, and you fell down again.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just a roller coaster of success.
It's about that time for the VH1. Where are they now?
Is the guild what you guys are talking about?
The guild, that's what it was.
I got a comment from my friend Sean Prairie on here that says,
the guild is the guild was the show. They were big when we were doing it, and it was like a few others like that. But yeah, we kind of hit in right when that stuff was starting, and we had a little bit of a following for a while. But then egos got in the way, and it kind of destroyed the group.
Fucking egos.
I'm not in that. It was egos of two other guys in the group that kind of destroyed everything. I was kind of like just there, but
did they go into their trailer and refuse to come out?
It was kind of like that. Like it was like, guys, we're nobody. Calm down. Like, dial back those egos. We're nothing right now.
Maybe we should have
that's what happens,
It does. You get a few views and people lose their fucking mind,
you forget that it's about, it's about fun with your friends,
absolutely. So
they go to the Waffle House and throw coffee at someone. You know who I am?
That was the next step. That's awesome. Before we get started on the interview, though, let me zip through tonight's comments here.
Let's do it.
We got Ara in the chat. Ara, what's going on? Hey,
always good to see you, buddy.
Super Mega Fest, then Plastic City. Yeah, I'll see you at both, man. Scary Good is in the chat. Thumbs up.
Scary Great.
Ms. May Comics in the chat. Hey, everyone. That's our good buddy, Brandon. What's going on? Let's see who else is here. We got my wife, Amy's Birdhouse, commenting. Tortuga is with us. What's going on?
Tortuga. That means turtle.
Is that what that means?
Yes.
Nice.
It's just fun to say. Tortuga.
And our Leo Minister, love that guy. That's a shout out to Jimmy Hart.
Good old Jimmy Hart.
I love that. It's a classic.
Yeah, wasn't that
Leo
great?
Minister,
Leo Minister from Massachusetts. I love that.
Well, the guy's 80 years old.
He's
80 years old. Good, the guy,
I know, but he's
I don't think anybody pronounces Leominster right the first
time.
Right. Even if you're from Massachusetts,
you have to be from here or from England.
It makes no sense. It's just same with the Worcester thing,
Yeah, exactly. Dismay saying, I'm expecting to see Harry Preparation HG to be in the ring.
That's his wrestling persona.
laughed so hard about that. That was hilarious.
Just before I got on the stream with you guys, I saw a clip that Bryan Cranston did a Preparation H commercial.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was super. And then I come on here and you got this Preparation H thing in the intro. It was such a weird coincidence.
Were you aware that you even made a joke and then? Were you aware that
Gary said that during an episode? And I thought it was hilarious. And then my wife went and found the old Preparation H commercial and then made all that stuff and turned it into a video. And I was like, that's gonna go in the intro of the show.
I'm just trying to find out how he was just unaware of that.
Yeah, right.
No, we're just talking about how because sometimes again I do take notes and I prepare for the show. Nice. And I'm like and one day randomly I'm like, you guys should nickname me Preparation H because I prepare so well so much for the show and that's how it came up.
I just keep thinking about that Austin Powers scene where he goes, Preparation A through G has failed on the Preparation H. Yes, Preparation H feels nice on the whole.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That whole thing.
That movie's the Alan Parsons project.
Oh, yeah, the Alan. Yeah, right.
What were you going to say, Tanner?
I said those movies hold up.
Really they're great.
We went back and watched them all. Yeah, honestly, we went back and watched them last year, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh man, is this going to be dumb? No, dude,
that looks like a giant.
Every second of it's great.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then we got Amy commenting here about Fan Expo loadout. Sounds like a nightmare. Ara says that if have Keith and Johnny run a con, it'll run perfectly. Wow, look at that.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I don't know about perfectly, but knock on wood, we've been lucky these last few years. Nothing too crazy at our show.
It's tough to say, oh, something would run perfect, right? I think if Keith and I were to run a show, we would be accountable. That's what the difference would be. Is that if something went wrong, there's unforeseen unknowns. We don't know about it. Anything could happen. But if it were to go down and there's no immediate fix, and unfortunately we'd have to put it on people to be there until 5 a.m., we would be accountable.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Amy also said NYCC has 2 wheels rule. Anything with 4 wheels requires Teamsters.
There you go.
She also said if Teamsters did walk out, I think that's on the union to cover their contract. Yeah, who knows what that situation is, but
it's a breakdown between Fan Expo and the Teamsters. There's some disconnect there. I don't obviously the first natural instinct is to want to point a finger for blame, but there's probably somewhere in between where there's failure between the two. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Someone on some side and some on the other.
Can you hire the Guardian?
Just for the sake of throwing it out there, and Keith, forgive me for throwing the invite out, but I invite anybody from that Teamsters union or from Fan Expo to come on the show and explain themselves.
Yeah, it's out there.
Do it.
Yeah,
out there.
We'd love to hear the reasons.
Yeah,
they dare you.
Well, I mean,
Amy
it's
said
gotta
Decker
be
sighting.
It's got to be such a big thing to run a con like that, I mean, you guys run one. I've only ever done small cons, but like it's a miracle that any of them go off successfully.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's true. There's so many things that could go wrong, and you just hope for the best.
Yep.
Amy said Decker sighting. That's my character from Hero Envy. Ira said,
now was he named after Fred Decker or Decker from Blade Runner?
Colonel Decker from 18.
Actually, both. I was thinking. I was thinking because the Decker character was a horror fan, so I was like, got to go with Fred Decker, and then Decker also had the cool Blade Runner thing going, so I was like, that's the name.
I have,
and I wanted to be one name, like very mysterious, Oh, look at this! Hi from Tanner's mom.
Hey, Tanner's mom.
Hey, mom.
Hey. Thanks for joining us, Michelle. And then finally,
Tanner's mom, your son's very talented. Thank you for encouraging his creativity. Look, he's on YouTube talking about his projects.
Yeah.
So it's her fault, huh?
Yeah, it's her fault. This is all your fault, Tanner's mom.
The first Austin Powers movie is still in top 20.
I agree with that.
For me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Dr. Evil is funnier than Austin Powers.
Oh, I'd agree with that.
Oh yeah,
I'd say that.
Yeah, all the best lines.
Like every joke hits in those movies. That's what it's just like incredible joke writing.
I'm not so sure about Mini Me though. I don't know if that was a good move.
Mini Me? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even the third movie, for not being as good as it is, was pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah.
They're always after the Lucky Charms.
Well, Beyonce's in it. Is that Beyonce or is that the other girl?
That's the Beyonce one.
Beyonce.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Tom Cruise too? I think so, right?
Yeah, because the intro is like the fake Austin Powers movie that's got.
Yeah,
Tom
that's
Cruise
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they have Kevin Spacey as Dr. Evil. How do you feel about that one?
That didn't age well, but whatever.
Yeah, that didn't age well at the time. Perfect.
Whoops.
That didn't age well.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, we got through the chat. I'm sure we'll have more comments coming in as the show goes.
Keep the comments coming.
Yeah, like we've had both of you guys on. Like, I'd love to hear, what's been going on since the last appearance on the show. If you guys, Tanner or Tim, if one of you guys wants to start, just, give us a brief update on what's been going on with you guys.
I've had to do some replacements on Melbourne 2 and some certain pages. But that all 4 books are going to go through RJ and Critical Blast.
Oh, okay.
And those are going to be special editions since they've been out before. And then Melvin 4 will debut through Critical Blast, and they are available on, Walmart, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and various other places. So all I really have to do is get the book. Me and my team have to get the book done and just turn it in, and then
nice.
They put it together. Yeah.
When you were on last, you were doing a crowdfunding for which issue?
3, but
3?
or was it 2? I think it might have been 2.
I don't recall offhand.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, I'll have to like scroll back through all the things. Like, which one was it?
But for new viewers, can you give everybody kind of just like the elevator pitch for Melvin?
Well, I'll have to go. You want me to go through every individual issue, or do you want me to
just
start
like if you
just
if
the general
idea,
the general elevator
what
pitch.
the series was about?
Is a mercenary, and he finds himself in a mission to save a princess who, he ends up in this wild adventure fighting a cult that's basically trying to either bend the knee or they'll destroy everything you love.
Wow, okay.
Sounds like corporate America.
It's more kind of or social justice warriors. Do think the same way we do, or we'll burn down everything you love.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so when you were last on, I think it was either 2 or 3, I don't remember. And now you got 4 issues out. Is that what it is?
Well, it's Melvin 0 through 3, and then like 4 is being worked on.
Okay.
And 4 is going to be like 44 pages.
Nice.
Gotcha.
That's actually
Nice.
crazy.
Supersized issue there, huh?
Issue 4 is going to be 44 pages.
Gotcha. Okay.
Was
That's
3
cool.
33 and 2 was 22 and
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I tried to cap them off at 24, and I think I don't know. I think one of the stories it said that it would be concluded in 4 when I really wanted it to be concluded in 5. So I'm like, I'll just make 4 a double issue. Easy fix.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Double size finale, like they do in some comics, which would be good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so that's a real great example of like, when you're a writer and you want to like just fit so much into a story, and then you realize, oh, wait a minute, like these pages are expensive, and this is like real estate, and you have to be very, very selective of what stays and what goes. And in some ways, like you think of film editing, it's the same idea. It's like you have to sometimes like kill your darlings and leave some awesome scenes that you really fell in love with on the floor to service the overall story.
Mm-hmm.
Or there was a miscommunication, but you love the artwork, so you kind of go, "Okay, I can fix this."
Yeah.
There's that.
Or you have
or
you have a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. Or a 500-page graphic novel,
right?
1,000 pages.
Or all your artists decide to show up. They look at the script and then they walk out at the last minute.
Yeah. 60 of them quit.
60 of them quit all at once.
Oh, there'd be some ass whooping if that happened.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Like I'm glad to hear that it's almost to the finish line there. That's great.
Yeah.
Actually
being in that final stretch.
Like just selling them is a lot harder than crowdfunding, I think.
Oh, of course, yeah. It really is. Crowdfunding helps, like, because it almost provides like an urgency to get it. Like, you got 30 days to get this, and it's like it also is like a rallying of people and the internet and everything trying to help you fund this thing to create it.
There is a lot of good value though. There's a lot of good value in it though. It gets you because I mean, if you're very introverted, it kind of puts you where you have to explain your book and you have to pitch the kit, and you have to be very outgoing. So it kind of does help you do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it kind of helps you.
Conventions can help you do that too.
I would love to do one. I was trying to do Gym State Comic-Con, and by the time I was planning to do it, they said, "Oh, well, we're all booked up now."
Yeah, you got to start soon with conventions.
Yeah,
it's tough. Yeah,
you almost got to start like you got about almost a month window from when they drop the applications at most shows, unless it's something new, and they're trying to drum up.
They
business.
dropped the application for Gym State Comic-Con in this year for 2025.
Okay. Oh wow! Yeah, so you got to start now if you're going to do it.
Well, but a week later,
work.
A week later, it was like they sent me another email. Oh, we're all full now. I'm like, well, I was gonna. Oh,
wow, really?
Some shows are like a lottery. It's so limited, and there's so many people applying. They're like, okay, well, it's a lottery. We're gonna draw names out of a hat, and that's how it works. You know what I mean?
Well, what they do is that sometimes they put you on a waiting list just in case somebody doesn't make it.
There's that as well.
Yeah, it works out sometimes. I was on the waiting list at Haverhill. Because
really?
I thought that I had put an application in, but I'm a space cadet, so I probably forgot to.
Well, it's gotta be because of the spacing, right? There's not enough room. Is that what it is, or it's not?
Yeah, it's usually that, or you sell out quick. Like
sometimes it's a sales tactic. If if you're on a waiting list for Artist Alley, they just want to push you to a bigger booth.
Yeah,
into small press. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference of paying like $500 to $1,700. And then if you go a step above and you get a regular exhibitor's booth, you're talking thousands.
Yeah.
Bigger shows, I think that's a problem. Like,
bigger shows. Yeah, bigger shows. Gem State, not so big. It's like 2 big rooms.
So they probably sell out quick then. That must be. Has the show been around for a while?
I don't know. I know I ran out. I didn't have time to actually sign up for it last time, and I went there as a guest anyway. And they don't really have anything organized. Like celebrities were right next to like art booths.
Yeah. I've been to a few shows like that where there's no organization.
You had I think she was either the person who played Rita Repulsa or the voice of Rita Repulsa right next to some guy who did like drawings of like characters and stuff.
Oh, weird.
And then she was right next to one of the girls from Home Improvement that was on that show Tool Time.
Not Pamela Anderson.
Even New York gets like that a little bit.
The other one.
I went
New York is crazy.
I've gone to New York for Sunday the past 2 years, and like the Artist Alley is pretty well organized, and obviously there's like the big celebrity section, but if you go up to that second floor, like the showroom, it's funny because it's kind of that floor is kind of just chaos. Like you'll be walking in, like you'll be walking through a comic vendor. I remember. I was like walking by these comic booths, and then I look over and like a fucking Power Ranger is sitting right there. And I was like, what? What? And this guy's just sitting at a table, like in the middle of like absolute like chaos. Merchandise chaos, And he's like, hey, I'm the Black Ranger. I was like, okay, like, whoa.
I've seen that before at other shows too. And I think what happens there is that celebrity isn't brought into the show by the show itself, but by that booth.
Yeah,
I've seen
that's another thing. I can see that,
I've seen things. I've seen that actually before, where, and I don't know. I've actually kind of like thought about the idea a little bit. Is
that's actually not a bad idea.
Co-opting a celebrity to be at your booth to drive traffic. Like, what's the the value versus the payoff? And I actually had an opportunity last year where Gigi Edgley from Farscape was looking for an opportunity to be at a booth.
She's
on
everywhere
the floor.
She's
really? Did you almost do it, Johnny?
Well, I wanted to do it because I had experience with her before at a previous convention I worked with. And the person who mentioned it to me is a good friend who I trust. Okay. My only dilemma is that in San Diego specifically, I share a booth with 4 other people.
It was 3 other people. I thought it was New York.
No, San Diego. So it's like it becomes really hard because we're a lack of space. I could give her my space, but then it's like it's not financially viable because it's my space to make my money.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's it's a little different. So, but in turn, if I had my own booth, I would seriously consider co-opting a celebrity to basically sponsor you and to bring some heads by your table.
Well, yeah, it's tough to try to I haven't really done a lot of big shows. I've only done small shows, and like I'm working up like I'm doing Springfield Comic-Con next month, which is going to be the first 2-day show that I've done. But like, and I thought about doing Terrificon, but it's just really hard to take that jump with those big table costs, and because like I've only ever made so much, and it's like, okay, like, well, I basically have to hope that this is going to be the best show I've ever done to get this table, and like, especially with something
tough,
like
especially if
hotels and stuff.
Yeah. If you're not in the position to waste money, like Terrificon has always been like, like it's an expensive show, definitely, because like every hotel room within a 30-mile radius knows that show's happening, and so the prices are sky high.
Yeah, I've gone the past 2 years, and it's fun, but because it's already like I spend a ton of money every year that I go, because I go there to collect, and I have a hotel room and stuff, and it's like.
So do you ever really break even, or Tanner?
Well, I've never done Terrificon. I do the smaller shows I have, but I thought I was like, I'm at a point now where, my career is picking up a little bit, with the small press company I'm with. And like, so I'm starting to lean towards trying to do that, but I still once I saw the price, I still wasn't ready to quite take the leap to it,
Yeah.
There's some secrets to doing Terrificon in terms of booking the hotel and, affording space and finding a spot on the floor that's not going to allow you to get lost in the mix.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, that's what I worry about. It's like, okay, I spend, $400 or whatever on this table, and then I'm stuck in like a random ass corner that nobody walks by, because that's a big show, and those things do exist, and like,
yeah, absolutely.
You say a table by the restrooms is a pretty good spot, because everyone goes by.
I mean, everybody's got to go to the bathroom, I guess.
Exactly. Right.
So some of the bigger booths are in fact at the front by the bathrooms.
Oh yeah.
Get a fold out table, go right in the bathroom.
There you go.
Well, yeah, that's honestly probably a great booth, because they have that whole hall that's like the walk up to the convention, and it's like you're guaranteed
first thing you
to see
see
those booths. Yeah, that's where you get like the what is it, the Star Wars troop, the 540.
Oh, the 501st.
501st. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I love that, and they're trying to recruit people. I love it. They're like giving you. I almost went to one of their like demonstrations. It's like they're like join us.
Yeah, right.
buy a stormtrooper costume and join us.
It's fun, but you have to buy very specific.
Yeah, I know.
Gear. Everything has to be approved. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's like there's these four belts that you can have to be a Jedi, and these types of boots and stuff.
While we're talking to you, Tanner, so like that. Interesting, like the last time we had you on the show, you were just starting out. I think you only had like a one story in like an anthology or something, like the last time we talked to you, and now you have a couple books out, and like fill us in on like like a brief summary of what you've been up to since we last talked.
So I had done a couple self-published things before, but when we talked last year, I got picked up for an anthology, a short story in an anthology called "And Out Come the Comics." It was a punk rock themed anthology.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
They were on our show actually.
Yeah,
somebody was on our show. Yeah.
Yeah. So since then, so basically, Lesser Known Comics is run by Mark Bernal. He's a really great guy, and they've agreed to publish my work from now on. So I've just been working super hard. I've gotten a lot done since. I was featured in another anthology by them, the Shadow Anthology.
Oh, cool.
It's like the dark side of your inner dark side calling kind of thing. These are my couple pages.
Oh, very cool. Let me hang on, hold it up. I want to see it. Hold it up again. Oh wow, look at that.
That's my couple pages. That was written by
very cool.
Brandon Blocksdorf. He's the Apollo City guy, actually.
Yeah, actually, Brandon was on the show like about a month or two ago, and now he's like working with Comics Wellspring, and
he's running a podcast for them. Really good dude. I also collaborated with him on. I'm going to be in another short story in another anthology called The Set List, which is a music-based one. I actually did the colors for that artist, John Jeremy Hansen, I believe.
No, he also did the punk rock one.
John Hansen. I'm sorry.
Brandon was behind the punk rock one.
Yeah.
Right?
Brandon's podcast, Apollo City Comics, curated that.
Gotcha.
And now they have an imprint with Lesser Known, so they're doing a lot of books.
Oh, that's cool.
And and then so like I said, they agreed to publish my work now. So what I did since is what the books that just came out this month. I had been working on a series that I had self-published called Murph. He's the personification of Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just fun, Rube Goldberg type gags that are, about his supernatural luck. So I had done 2 issues, self-published in black and white. So I decided to, and I was going to move on from the series, but a friend of mine convinced me to, he was like, I love that character. They should do something. So I was like, you know what? Like I had an idea for a 3rd issue. So I was like, you know what? I'll go for it and I'll do it. So in preparation for that, I decided to re-letter the original 2. I had done some hand lettering that was questionable, to say the least. So I digitally relettered that, and that's released as Giant Size Murph. It's the first 2 issues.
Nice.
And
so this is your character, Murph? Is that your character?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very, very. It reminds me of like so many different things. He's like the modern day, like Mr. Magoo or something.
Magoo.
Like,
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say Magoo.
It's like it's just.
Is that
just
what it
really,
is? It's like the.
So
he's like always finds himself in trouble, and he doesn't understand. Isn't aware. He just,
like Mr. Bean comes to mind. Too,
right.
You
Mr.
know?
Bean. Well,
so safe to say it's a comedy.
Yeah. One of the big inspirations for it actually was at the time I had just started watching The Simpsons, and just the simplicity of the formula and the daily adventures kind of thing, just really kind of inspired me, and that's kind of what set me off with that.
And you're the writer as well, is that?
I'm the writer with Murph. I'm the writer as well. Yeah,
like he reminds me of like Frank Drebin from Police Squad or Harry Crumb, or like these kind of characters, like who are oblivious to, like they solve mysteries and things without even by accident.
It's a really fun concept, and it allows you to you don't take yourself too seriously. You're not doing these brooding monologues and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, what is that?
Yeah, that's Zed and Odysseus. I did it like a really short, like 4 or 5 pager that was like Droids meets Adult Swim.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. Actually, you know what, Tanner, you know what it reminds me of? There was a short-lived DC comic called Vexed. By Keith Giffen, and artwork was by Mike McCone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was let me see if I can show you a screenshot of it. It's he basically was the god of bad luck.
Oh, cool.
And he kind of comes to like Earth, and then stuff starts happening. It sounds kind of like that a little bit, like
it's a fun concept. I also I think there's like Domino comes to mind too. It's a similar kind of power set.
Do you have a particular joke in the book that you think is the best joke out of the whole?
So actually, my favorite joke. So in the third one, So like I said, I recollected the first 2, and now I'm also releasing the third one, which is my first full color book.
Cool.
And that's Murph Blunder Dog.
That's the one I just read.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I loved, so there's a lot of things in this one particularly where I felt like they were tropes that you would see in like old Three Stooges bits, or like you said, The Simpsons.
Yeah,
just things like that, like where he ended up in a boxing ring. You know what I mean? Like that whole scenario was all inconsequential and but also faded. You know what I mean? And it was just you did a really good job of weaving it. I love.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that like you said, like the whole power set of him not knowing and realizing that he kind of rots this misfortune, but also thrives through good luck in that misfortune. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's like a monologue in the first one where it says like the same luck that gets him into trouble is the luck that gets him out. And it's like it's kind of just walking through, and never really knowing the danger he was in or that he got out of it.
But I feel like he's the center of the tornado, right? The eye of the storm, so to speak.
But
kind of like Jerry is on Seinfeld. Like Jerry always came up even. Remember? Like
exactly.
It was that one episode, but he's more of a George character almost. He looks like
Summer George.
He looks like George actually.
And that was the original. Like I said, it just like and part of the reason I never continued the series a lot is that I never really had like a long form story for it. It really just was the idea of it's like, oh, this is like a device that I can just go in whenever I want and do like a fun story.
He's like a lawyer. Is that what he is? Like
So the vague ongoing plot is that he's a defense lawyer who through his supernatural luck gets tied up in a prison warden's plot to raise crime rates in the city to get federal funding. But also ends up undoing because in Murph Blunderdog he after getting mugged he goes to take self-defense classes in a boxing ring and gets trapped there overnight in an underground boxing league that's run by the warden to get money into the warden's pocket is going there that night, and then he winds up getting thrown in the ring.
So what made you think of this this genre or writing like the lawyer or defense lawyer thing? Is that do you have like a law or something or
no? So it was actually funny. So I had the idea for Murph, the character itself, like a long time ago, like years ago, and
that was going to be my question. Like, were you working on these prior to a year ago?
Yeah. So the first issue I actually did in 2020. So it's been a long time.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'd had the idea, and actually the first sequence in issue number 1, which is in giant size, the first sequence where he's walking. Oh, thank you, Lance. That's Lance right there on YouTube.
Well, along with the comments, when I was reading the books in preparation for this show, like it almost made you like want to read on to see how he gets out of the jam that he's in. You know what I mean? So like in the boxing match,
but
like
that's a sign of a good comic or a good story. Like you want to see how it unravels,
like how does he get out of this like fight against this
crazy
guy, right? I'm like, how does he and he trips over his feet
like the Mr. Magoo thing,
right.
Yeah. So like the initial idea, I actually like as soon as I came up with the idea, I came up with the first sequence. So if you read the first issue, there's a sequence where he's walking to his office and there's construction nearby, and he drops his sandwich and it makes him miss getting hit by a wrecking ball. But the wrecking ball goes into his office and destroys.
So what gave you that idea? That was no, not the sandwich, but the Murph in general. Like
I don't know. Just so it was something that just I mean, like I'm a clumsy dude. I'm a very clumsy dude. I don't have great coordination, and I think it really just that aspect of myself kind of led to the idea of like, oh, like what if somebody was just 100% plus,
another idea but thoughts that I had when I was reading this, like not to be morbid, but like you hear all these stories from like 9/11, like people who just missed the flight, whatever, or a guy that was running late. He's like always on time, always there at 9 o'clock or whatever time it is. And then this day, for some reason, he overslept or she overslept, whatever. And then that whole thing. There's like a million stories like that from that day, and other tragedy, tragic events. So it kind of reminded me of that too. Like, what if you went left? Like, whenever I get lost, and I'm not using GPS, I go right. If it comes to question, what if I went left? What would happen? Or what if I?
What if all the survivors get stalked by death?
Yeah. Yeah. Final Destination.
I was just gonna say, there's a little bit of Final Destination vibe to the story as well.
It's about there is just something very powerful, I think, about the hands of fate and the power of fate, and like those types of events, where man, if I stopped and picked up my sandwich, maybe things would be different, and it's just a device to be able to to tell any type of story,
which is why I think you should stick with it, because you can do so much with this. You can go up in so many different directions with this story,
Thank you.
Well, it's personal because we can all relate to that. We all can point to something in our life where we look back and go, if I made this decision over that, or whatever the case may be.
Just left.
I am working on some other projects right now, but Murph is something that I'm definitely gonna always go back to and do.
So you're gonna continue it kind of on.
Yeah, on a like I said, right now. So my brother, who I am a creative partner with, my brother Travis, who we did that anthology together. We've got a couple projects in the works right now that I've been busy with.
It was nice to see him at Haverhill too.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was coming either, which was funny.
Yeah, it was cool. It was nice to catch up with both of you guys.
I had asked him to come, and I guess he has terrible service at his house, so there's a communication problem. I thought he was like, "Oh, I got to spend the day with the family, so I can't come." I was like, "Okay," and then he just walked in, and I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Yeah." Nice. He's like, "I meant I was going to come spend the day with the family at the convention." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
No, that's why I love that show. It's just a fun little show, like. Hang out with people, and I don't know, enjoy doing that show. I'll do it every year as long as they have it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's all the benefits of a one-day show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to at least do at least one show. I haven't done a con yet.
Tim is there.
Yeah, you got to do it, Tim. You got to try it at least
once. It's a blast, man.
I've dreamed of doing one.
That's where I met these guys. You never, you're just gonna. That's the best thing about doing shows for me is that you're just surrounded by like-minded people. It's all people that have had the initiative and interest to go and make a comic and get it out there. And
well, I mean, like the closest I've done is like the Gym State Comic Con. I took a bunch of copies of Melvin with me, and I'd buy a copy of one creator's book, and then I just leave one of my copies of one of my books for free. Say, okay, I'll buy this, but here, let me leave one of my copies of my books for free, and then I'd have them sign the book that I paid for.
There you go. Yeah, it's worth doing. Checking it out.
Yeah,
seeing what works for you. It's a lot of work to do a con, and it takes years to really be good at it and make money. I think like sometimes like. And I'm talking about like being at the bigger shows too, on top of that, like 1-day shows you can ace no problem, but to be able to ace a 3-day show it takes some time, and you got to build up, and I call it being in the trenches, trying to build that audience and to the point where they come seek you out every year and things like that,
Would you guys ever consider doing like a mini con of your own where you just like rent a space and advertise it?
I mean, I do Plastic City Con. It's blown up into. It started off as that, like a one room at a VFW kind of thing with free admission. But now it's blown up to like 150 tables or more at a hotel. So so it's become like a bigger show. But I still try to keep that smaller show mentality because I vend and I'm an artist and writer, and so I feel for everybody that comes to my show that sets up, and I want them to make money, and so I try to keep the admission low, and I try to set people up for winning, rather than losing money, so
especially
that's my philosophy
in like
anyways,
Yeah, I mean, there's some years that are better than others. So when you look at it, like when you have somebody like yourself and Amy who really look at the best interests of the creators first and foremost, and then kind of build the show around that, I think that's the differentiator there, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ryan Santos in the chat. What's up, man? Can't wait. It's gonna be a blast, he says. And Tim, Sean Prairie saying take the plunge. And our buddy Brandon saying shows are great, Tim. Don't do something like a fan expo for the first con. Highly recommend smaller 1 or 2 day shows. Cons, they are a lot of fun and pretty much guaranteed breaking
Don't
even.
go to the deep end, start off at the shallow, right?
Yeah.
Well, some people do, and they just get their dose of reality when they do that.
It's more than just paying for the table. You're paying for the books that you have to sell. You're paying for your banner.
Or if you gotta, for me, I know I have to get work off most of the time. So like, you gotta factor that in, and if you're not making a shift, you gotta lose that money. So
paying for the Teamsters.
You got food to think about. You got travel. You got hotel possible thing.
Just find a bunch of homeless and say
the most important thing that everybody forgets: your time. If you, you know what I mean. Time.
I know
money.
it's as independent creators. I feel like we tend to not consider our time as something of value. Because you just put all of it in. But yeah, you really do. That's a lesson I've learned with like. With all the work I've been doing, I'm doing 2 pages a week now, fully colored and lettered, which
good for you, man. That's great.
And but time has become a very valuable thing for me.
It is, and like
with a full-time
the thing
job,
I always worry about, like when I sit at a 3-day con, and sometimes like Friday's a waste of time at almost every 3-day con I've ever done. And then sometimes Sundays like slow at some of those shows. And I sit there and I think about, oh my God, it could be lettering like 5 books right now. And
it honestly blows my mind when you see like these people that are, top tier, like the David Finches and Mark Bagleys and, Chris Campana. You see these guys at these at these shows, and I'm like, I know that you're doing like a book right now. Like you're like how are you like at Terrificon this weekend, and you know like NYCC in a couple weeks? Like, how are you doing all these shows and keeping your
right
page a week? It's crazy. And because Chris Campana is an awesome dude. He's somebody who I've met at both New York and Terrificon a bunch. He's been super supportive, looking at my work and stuff. And I know that, you know, because when I saw him at Terrificon, you know, he was telling me, he's like, oh yeah, you know, like I gotta go. Like he had just gotten that Red Goblin gig, and he's like, you know, I got to go back to my hotel room and do a fucking page after the show. And it's like, that's crazy. And for me, that blows my mind, because I need to work at my drafting table, because I like with perspective stuff and like perspective points and stuff. I can't like it upsets me to think about having to try to draw a page in a hotel room. At least start the page. The pencils at least would be a nightmare.
For me too. Like after like being at a show all day, it's fun, but it is work. You're talking to people. It's like working a shift somewhere, like in retail. Really is, you know.
I have an acquaintance. Sorry,
you know, and I can't even imagine trying to draw something after doing that for a whole day. You know, your voice is, you know, hurt. You know,
I wouldn't have that problem because I'm not an artist, so I'd be able to.
But you'd still be talking up your comic, you know, like
something, or even do like signing. So I've heard of many instances, and I have an acquaintance who works at Marvel who, you know, they were then pulled in to have to do remarks on books from campaigns and promotions. So, you know, like where, you know, normally where you're like an indie creator, you're like talking to other indie creators going, oh, hey, where we're going to get dinner and a beer after.
Yeah.
You know, the professional's like, no, I can't. I have to go do X, Y, Z.
I've got a deadline to hit. I've got this and that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the difference there.
Did you guys see who has a new beer out? Speaking of beer,
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, did you see that?
I don't want to drink Hulk Hogan beer.
It's called Real American Beer.
Real American beer?
It's called Real American. It's like he was at his beach shop throwing beers at fans at his beach shop.
Wait, I forgot. I forgot to play this guy.
Like hard? Was he throwing them hard?
Anything weird? Because I have a weird sense of humor too. So well, I mean, I think I've shared the story before, and like, Superman 3, Catherine Tate from Doctor Who was at.
I had to play that because
not that I go on tangents.
I know apparently enough that there's a video on quick release there.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just imagining him like chucking beers at people really hard, like here's a beer, and like it hits somebody on the back of the head. Like
it's kind of like Stone Cold Steve Austin throwing beers out to his.
Yeah, that's what I was. If anybody was going to be.
Yeah,
releasing a beer and throwing them at people, you'd think it would be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, you guys
should be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It should be. Maybe
but he's probably smart enough to know that he's like, you don't mess with beer. You know, you just drink the beer that exists, and that's it. You don't try to bring your own into the world.
I want to try one because he's actually on the cover of his on the beer can. He's like
that's what sold it for you. His face on the beer.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not a big beer person myself. I'm not a drinker, as you can tell. You don't get all this from drinking, you know. But you know. But I want to try it anyway.
This beer, you'll look like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, right.
I doubt that. Yeah.
So, what you going to do when alcoholism runs wild on you?
Yeah.
Right. He needs a tagline if he doesn't have one already. But
hey, Mike Dobbs is on Instagram. What's up, Mike?
Oh, nice. Tell Mike I said hey. To steer this back to the Comic-Con talk, I have a couple of great comments here. First of all, Ryan was saying, can't wait to hear the bitching about the past Fan Expo. Ryan,
watch
the
first. Yeah. Go back to the beginning. Yeah.
Let me see. Sean Prairie was saying my first show was SPX, Hard Reality Check.
You know. I had the same effect, though. Remember, we talked about that in the show. SPX is a completely different animal than any of the other conventions out there because it's a very specific kind of Comic-Con. It's not just like multi-applicable of like bring any book, and it should be that kind of way, but SPX leans more specific towards a niche kind of comic.
I want to try that show someday. One of these.
I'm sorry, Tanner. What did you say?
I've never heard of it.
So a Small Press Expo. It's out of Maryland.
Okay.
Bethesda, Maryland, usually every year, and they have the Ignatz Awards. It's a brick, a golden brick they give you if you win that award.
What
And
kind of comic books? Sorry.
It's very, very indie and like zine books. So they really favor like self-publishing.
Like
they favor
X.
Yeah, like so
like
the girl who's sitting next to me, I apologize for misspeaking. I think girl. I don't know. I didn't know my pronouns pronouns for her. Him, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Mine's
either way. They were outselling my standard self-published print books, literally stapling books and putting them together right there at the table.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, that's endearing in the sense of like, look, you can produce at the table and sell your work. Like that was awesome. But there I was struggling because I had the New York Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, Terrificon mentality where like, here are my goods. I worked hard to, put them together before the show.
Yeah, it's hard to know, what's going to sell at what show, like I've actually had the past 2 shows that I did. So I've got my self-published book, Do Not Enter, which is like a very early work of mine. It's one of those things where I don't love it, but I printed 200 copies, so I bring them.
Yeah. Right.
And, but all of a sudden, like I sold a lot of those my last 2 shows. And it's just like, it's just cause, like there's something about the pitch, or something about the vibe of that book that appeals to people. And it's just, you don't know what to expect and what's going to appeal to whom, like.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
What would each of you guys say is your like, impetus for going to these conventions? Is it to like, I mean, making money is like a something that happens, if it's something you enjoy doing, you enjoy making your art, you're writing your stories, whatever, going to the conventions and then like, you hope to make some money, but do you also like engaging with people that your fans almost like because you don't I think because you're always working in your little like corner in your house or whatever at your table or whatever like penciling away or whatever all day but I think must be I've never done a convention myself but I have given people like when I'm an artist myself so when I draw something and I show somebody what I did for them and I see their reaction, that gives me the most joy ever. It's like almost instant, if you're a writer, it takes some, you gotta sit there and ask them what they thought of it after they read it, but the picture is almost instant, it's like, oh, what do you think of this? And then you see their expression. And to me, that would mean like more than anything, just to have that interaction with your fans, but, and then making money would be like also like a welcome thing at the end, but.
Yeah, for me, that's exactly what it is. Expect when you're doing a long format book, especially, it's just, like you said, it's just hours and hours and hours and hours by yourself in your bedroom or whatever, and for me, like I try to post on social media, but I'm not great about posting. So like for every drawing you see on social media, I've got 200, that you haven't seen. And, for me, that's what it started out as was, my first convention I actually lucked into. It was, Nikon. Are you guys familiar with that?
Oh, I've heard of it.
So it's a very small collection. It's a very small convention for like horror writers. Guys like James A. Moore, who just passed, unfortunately. He was a great guy. But Christopher Golden, those guys like that. They and so I was somebody I was dating had a family who was involved in it, and she was she's like, oh well, you're doing a horror book, like why don't you come check it out? And then just that experience of sharing it and you go from like in your bedroom by yourself and like talking to the 2 guys at the comic shop to being like, okay, this is a room full of people that enjoy this type of stuff too, that I can relate to. And then too, like you said, when you bring your work and you lay it out and people look through it, and they'll have a moment like, oh wow, look at that one. It's like, that's why I do it, because I did them for years before I made any money. It's all about that reaching out to people in the community and building relationships with those people.
I think because I've been doing it for so long, I approach it as like a job now. I still like talking to people, interacting with people, and I'm perfectly fine if no one buys something, if I talk to you even for 10 minutes, but I look at every show now as like, I want to turn a profit, I want to make my table and walk away with, hopefully a surplus after that, so
that's what you got to that's what you got to do, and that's a hump I'm trying to get over as a comic artist right now is, like I really want to make this my full-time career, and I got to start.
You have to like kind of start,
kind of
yes, start kind of looking at it in that mentality, like this is going to be my job, like
which with this schedule that I've kept, like I said, it feels like it sometimes. There's a lot of days where it's like I need to produce 2 days a week, and there's a lot of times where I don't want to draw and I gotta draw,
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, plus, and then you're proud of your stuff too, so it's like you want people to look at it and buy it and talk about it and anything, like, so that's what I do like going to shows. I don't want to give off that projection that I don't like them, I do like them, and I like even discovering other artists and other comics at shows, like I've bought a bunch over the years. So I found that whole sense of community too,
I have like a most unlikely inspiration for promoting what I do is Get in the Van by Henry Rollins.
Oh, okay.
Great book.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like they were living life. They like Henry said, they lived like kings on the road, and they starved when they didn't tour.
Yeah.
They lived a hardworking, of a rock and roll group.
Yeah.
And there's a particular chapter where he's complaining only 2 people showed up to the gig to watch them play, and the guitarist Des Cadena looks at him and goes, "Just shut up and sing."
Yeah, I mean, well,
I like that.
Quit complaining, just do it.
Yeah.
There's been shows that we've been at, me and Johnny, that have 2 people show up. So it's like
it feels more like a prison sentence than a Comic-Con.
We've always made the best of it.
Well, that's
always.
That's why I think like you gotta like you have to have a fire in you about it to do it, because like with comics especially, I feel because I'm a musician as well, and I've tried to be an artist in other forms, and there's just like with comics, there's just a level of just marathoning that you need to be ready for, whether it's the work itself, or it's it's going to conventions, it's talking, trying to sell the same book a million times, trying to, you just have to have something in you that makes you not want to give up,
Yeah.
Law of averages.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tim.
Ask 100 people, and when they all say no, ask 100 more.
Yeah.
Repeat process.
Let me zip through the
Then you
rest
break
of these
even
comments.
if you get yeses.
Everybody's talking about Comic-Con in the chat here. Ryan Santos says, go to a show and try not to think of it as a money-making endeavor. It's a chance to connect. Yeah, no, definitely. That's always like a side, what was it say? Like a benefit,
Right.
secondary benefit of a show for me,
Sometimes that becomes the primary benefit. Like if you go and you have a bad show, you can at least walk away and go, "Oh, at least I made a few good connections."
Yeah, absolutely.
That letterer was really good. I think I might use him on my next book. Like anything, that's the key takeaway, right? And Ryan's got the right sense of mine there. Like if you have a bad show, you can't just say, "Oh, I had a bad show and it's a wasted day." You have to pull something
pick up a
away
new
from
friend, like a new part of the community that you don't.
Or maybe that could be your goal.
Maybe.
That could be your goal, maybe to meet a new person or friend or two, before you leave the convention.
I think it happens no matter what. Usually, every neighbor you've ever had at a Comic-Con, you stay friends with.
Yeah, I mean, I've some of like I've been doing the Western Mass comic show for so long. I've become very good friends with Mark Mestel and Mike Dobbs, and and like these are dudes. These are dudes that are twice more my age. And like somebody, not people that I would normally probably meet, but just the con experience has made them very.
Do you find that you guys share war stories like in Jaws? The the captain and Dreyfus, like
Mm-hmm.
of your worst convention.
Well, for me, being friends with them it's just such a privilege to have people who have been doing it for so long and have great experience and a lot of insight to help. They just help guide me and a lot of the choices that I make when it comes to creating or to conventions or whatever. It's a invaluable resource to have people who have that kind of experience, be friends with.
Oh yeah, definitely. Brandon,
It's a flood out there, and to stand out without being at shows to physically put a book in somebody's hand is very hard. So it's beneficial, even if you're not financially successful, to be at a show and to push your book and to put it into people's hands.
You got to earn your stars and bars.
And even go to shows where you don't table, because one of the biggest things that has helped me the past couple years too is I've been going to shows with my portfolio and just talking to people and having them look at it, and I've made, I'm not like good friends, but I have a rapport with artists that are, Humberto Ramos remembers me now. He's reviewed my portfolio 3 or 4 times, and and it's funny, every time I think he doesn't remember me, he'll be like, I remember, and Humberto Ramos, Chris Campana, all these people that are, I've looked up to my whole life that are incredible artists, and just going to that, that's something that's so unique to the comic book industry that I love, is that there's no other industry where you can go to a convention and walk up to somebody who's incredibly successful, famous person that you've looked up to for years and be like, hey, what's up? It just doesn't exist in any other community. It's amazing.
It's almost surreal, almost.
It is.
You're walking in a dream or something,
it really is. And Humberto, also Mark Bagley too for me, but Humberto Ramos especially was the one for me, that because he's one of my top artists when I was growing up, and it's incredible to be able to go meet these people, and not only that, but when they're kind enough to take the time to look at your work and to give you advice, and he particularly has given me advice that really changed my direction and how I did comics, and it's
cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I like hearing that. That's great. Brandon from Dismay said my first show was Fan Expo New Orleans. Don't regret it at all. It was a ton of fun and great networking, but regarding cost, didn't make half of what I spent on table, food, hotel, gas, etc. for 4 days.
Oh, just get a van.
Yeah, well,
sleep in a van.
I always said to people too, when I was younger and they didn't have a house and financial responsibility, I used to blow money at shows everywhere because I didn't care about losing money, because I didn't have to have that money for other things, important things in life. So I didn't mind it. So, but once I started getting more financial responsibilities was also the same time when I started actually breaking even on tables. So it kind of lined up good, which was perfect, and now I've you still lose money here and there, but most of the time I at least make table, or if not more profit too, So
you have to think though, Keith, you also have more gear on your table this far into
than I ever did
creative career than you did before. So the more opportunities you have for people to buy something from you in terms of something that they'll connect to, the greater your chances are. And that doesn't come at the beginning of you doing this. It comes 5 years in, 10 years in, when you have more content to sell.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's like the Borg, he assimilates with every convention. He gets
that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's super important. I remember my first convention, I had one book and a couple prints, and and it's like you said, you want, when you're trying to create a shopping experience for somebody, when you only have a couple things, they only have one thing to connect with. It's like back to what I was saying with the fact that my other book is selling all of a sudden. It's I'm glad I every time I go to a convention, I think, do I really need to bring this? But then I bring it and it sells. So it's you might as well just have it all out there.
My first graphic novel I still bring to shows, because even though I've been selling it for 20 years now, it's just that you still find people that have not read it. So it's always good to have there. Ryan says he's drawing right now. Brandon says also, if you're not an artist and are a writer, there's less higher price things you can offer, like remarks, sketch covers, or commissions. Yeah, that's definitely true.
I hit the wrong button.
Oh, it's okay. I knew you'd probably be back. And then you can submit to the Ignats even if you aren't tabling at SPX. Deadline is up for this year. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's kind of neat to know.
I think
Brandon
that goes
also
for most,
says, "What's that?"
I think that goes for most like comic award shows that you can actually.
It might, yeah, even like the Eisners and stuff. With the Ignats, they also put your comic in the Library of Congress section that they have. Wow. So that's
you don't have to win the Ignats for that. You just have to be at SPX for that.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, you don't, because my books are in the Library of Congress.
That's awesome.
And I didn't win any awards.
That's right. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. You
cool.
don't have to win the Ignats for that. That's just that's a perk of being at SPX and connecting with the Library of Congress table there.
Yep. And Amy said, I've seen kids' faces light up when they pick up an issue of the Mighty Mascots and hear what it's about. That's worth more than any cover price.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's true, Amy. I do get a kick out of that. I really do. And then Wappa Town says Keith hates doing shows. Heard that.
Well, not to bring back another old character. That's a negative comment.
That's great. Dismay says, glad I have a friend that goes with me to cons and table. It's a great time, even in those lull periods. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's
why it's
huge.
great to have Amy with. Yeah,
I did my first couple of cons I did by myself, and it's tough.
We were at a con once, and there was a kid with a full table selling only Autobot and Decepticon logo magnets.
Oh,
he needed to diversify. I do remember that kid. But DS is with us tonight. Hey, DS.
Is Amy talking about GoBots? Is that what she's talking about?
Yeah. No, literally, it was a convention in Rhode Island. A kid had set up a table, and it was just all that was at his table was these Autobot and Decepticon logo magnets.
Wild.
Mm-hmm. One day I'll try it. Not that, but other things, other bizarre things.
Hopefully you do something better than GoBots, though.
Well, I do have those bee drawings that I've done.
Yeah, there you go.
I have a whole series of bees that I've drawn, of B. Arthur and.
Nice. I love that.
Honestly,
that's the kind of thing where I bet, man, that's the kind of thing that like you would be surprised probably would sell great.
I have a double B one. I have an Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh yeah, that's honestly, if you got like a bunch of those prints made, that's the kind of thing that people would eat up at a con.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that like pun stuff like that. I see a lot of people wearing shirts like that and things like of that nature.
Cool. Although one time I got yelled at though. I got yelled at by one guy because I was like walking around and this guy specifically drew Mount Rushmore drawings. At his table. He had like and the Mount Rushmore of like sports heroes. You know what I mean? Or the Mount Rushmore, like the Golden Girls was a Mount Rushmore. The Beatles would be a Mount Rushmore. And I'm like, so the Mount Rushmore of like movie stars or movie monsters or whatever it was. And I walked up to him and I'm like, huh. I mean, paging through his book of all these like Mount Rushmores, and I actually drew one of I'm a fan of Doctor Who. I don't know if you can tell. And I do you have one of the doctors? Like, actually, you know what? That was going to be one of my next ones. I'm like, oh, well, here's one that I did. It's like, oh, so you draw too? He got mad at me. I'm like, sorry, dude. I didn't mean to like. I didn't realize you were going to be here today. I just happened to have one on me. I drew.
You guys have to let each other know which con you'll be at.
He's trying to corner the market on the
I know, really.
Would you ever
cutthroat Mount Rushmore artist?
Would you ever draw like a Bumblebee Arthur?
I did.
Or as Wappa Town says, Obi Arthur Kenobi.
It'd be like Bumblebee's body, but with B. Arthur's head.
That's if they made it. Well, I do have something like that. I have Susan B. Anthony, Beyonce.
Oh, I have Beyonce, all these, that's a good one.
Yeah, she's more modern. She's pretty hot bee.
As hot as a bee can be.
Ew.
As hot as a bee can be. Look at that thorax.
Look at that thorax.
B. Arthur.
She's got a healthy thorax. That
Beyonce.
Right.
You like your women toothless and ruthless?
Well, I don't know how that got out, but
B. Arthur tuna. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. Harry, one of these days you should make up a bunch of merch and try it.
But like you guys said, it takes money to make money, and I'll get some things together at some point, and we'll figure it out.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's like the thing is, if you just start, because like I print. I do maybe 1 or 2 more prints for every convention, and then all of a sudden now I've got, a big library of prints that I can bring. It's just about chipping away. It's just like
the more
like anything
stuff you have, the better off you are.
Right? Yeah, because you don't know who might like what. If there's something out there for everybody to like. Or
well,
whatever.
I find it so much easier to sell Mighty Mascots now that I have 9 issues versus when I had 1 or 2. Because people see that you're in it, like they see that you're making the book and it's going to keep going. It's not just like, is this guy just going to make 1 or 2 and I'm never going to see the next issue, so it does help to have more stuff, especially if you're an indie guy. So
I always like to ask fellow artists, like when they knew that they were good at what they did, like good at drawing or whatever. So, like Tanner, like, was there a moment in your life when you're like, "Whoa, I guess I can draw," or someone told you or whatever?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like when I was young, I definitely like. There's something about when you're a kid and like not everybody can draw. If you can draw something that like kind of looks like what it is, people are like, "Oh wow,"
right?
So like that. I had that kind of thing pretty young, but. It wasn't until the past couple of years, as far as comics, like that I think when I started the first Murph issue, there's the first page on that. It was the first time that I had like had a vision in my head and like brought it to the page and like.
I get them too.
And I was like, well, this looks like a comic book, and that was probably the first time that I was like, oh, maybe I actually can do this, and that's when I really started taking it seriously.
And you write your own stuff too, right, Tanner?
With Murph, I did, yeah. And I had up until that. The first graphic novel I did, I was with the writer, and then I did Do Not Enter, which I wrote, and then all the Murphs that I've written. And now, again, like I said, now I'm working on. So in August, I haven't really announced it yet, but I'll announce it now.
We got the exclusive
announcement.
Yes.
So my next book is going to be a one-shot book called Lightkeeper that was written by my brother Travis that I drew.
Nice.
It's a 22-page story, just a single story about a lighthouse keeper's lifelong affair with a sea spirit.
Oh, cool.
A little bit of romance, a little bit of horror.
Their relationship was very transparent.
That's great. but
yeah, and that'll be out in August. And then we also have and we're working on a 4-issue series after that, which
sweet.
Yeah, so and that's cool. Gonna be my first like long form, like I said,
that'll make a nice graphic novel too when you're done,
80 pages, and like I said with Murph, like Murph is I love Murph a lot, and it's it's a great like one-shot formula, but like I never like got the story dialed in, to be a complete thing, and like
if you do another issue, you could collect it all into a book, something to think about, because I noticed too graphic novels do really well,
Yeah, I think they, especially in the indie market. I mean, that's pretty much like that's how I think about. It's like at least how I'm thinking about this 4-issue series is like, I'm gonna do the single issues, but I'm really thinking about it as like the goal of having the collection, because it's just like it's hard to sell people a number 2 or 3 or whatever.
It is, I mean? Unless you sell it as a set, and make them buy it that way.
And it's
then you could do it like a car dealer, like. What can I do to get you to go home with this comic book today?
Yeah, right.
All right. I'll go talk to the boss. I'll see him like
I'm done
a few bucks.
We've had friends who have that aggressive approach, and it doesn't always work though.
So the one time that I've done something like that is is entirely based on a pun. So I've got a few prints that are like the Sinister Six. I've got a Sandman, Electro, Doc Ock, and they were black and white, but I did like a color version of the Sandman one. So anytime that somebody would buy the $20 Sandman colored print, I'd be like, oh, well, if you pay an extra Sinister $6, I'll give you these 3 other black and white prints.
What you did there.
And it worked every single time.
Yeah,
I like that stuff.
See, that's
when they pay the $6, you go,
pocket.
nerd.
Yeah. You put that kind of stuff in your back pocket because that's great. That's great marketing, man, and great selling,
I think if you have a pretty jovial personality behind the table, that is infectious, and that kind of helps people loosen up their wallets and kind of want to help support you. You know what I mean?
Well, and you got to be willing to. This is my advice for selling too. Just being able to talk to somebody and not worry about if they're going to buy something or not is always key. And then
because desperation is stinky after all.
It turns people off when the first 5 seconds of your conversation you're telling them prices and shit.
Yeah. Well, when it comes up, usually I always like to. When I first talk to somebody, I ask them if they're a comic reader. If they say yes, then I'll let them know what the book's about. Because sometimes they're not. They're just celebrities.
Maybe try this. Do like a Fantastic 401, and then they buy something else and go. If you buy this fantastic, if you buy this fourth one, it'll be fantastic.
There you go.
There you go. I think if you let them ask you how much it is, your chances are better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if they want you want to give them everything they need to know except for the price, and then when they ask, and that's the other thing too is I've seen that debate before too. It's like, do you post the price on the table or you don't? I used to always post the price. Now I don't, only because I'd like to have that conversation.
Well, I think
that is brilliant. I love that.
I don't know because I think that like I forget to post. And I think I want to. It's interesting that you say that because I've been thinking about starting to post it because I would rather have a third party tell them what the price is, almost so it's like I don't have to be the guy that's like, hey, it's $10 they know that it's $10 and we can just have a conversation
But
it's interesting to hear that
post prices too, but I do offer a discount if you buy all 9 issues of Mighty Mascots. So, and I usually put it up there as the breakfast special, and it's got the price, and people
that probably just that name probably does enough work.
Yeah, it helps. Well, they ask about the book, and sometimes they flip through it, and my pitch usually can sell them on it if they're into it. If they're into it,
I think there's also a variation there where you kind of have to know what sells itself and what needs to be pitched, right? Like if you have a nice, really art print piece, you don't have to pitch that; it's there. Put a price tag on that.
Yeah,
but if you have a book, that's a little different. Don't price the book. Let them pick it up and flip through it.
Yeah, and then if they're looking through it, you can engage.
Question over here.
Yeah.
He's got his hands up.
Should you leave one out of the comic book sleeve so they can pick it up and flip through it?
Yeah,
100%. I do that all the time.
I actually would be surprised how it's people struggle with those things, man. It's
fun. I never used to bag and board, but Johnny got me into that, and I like it now. I bag and board every book, and then I put the one reader copy in front so they can look at it.
Yeah, I should.
And then I pre-sign everything, so I don't have to sit there and just sign 9 issues while I'm trying to talk to them and collect money at the same time. So
I like signing in person, but that is a good idea.
I need to get bags to give people because I always forget to have a bag for people to take the stuff, and I'll sell them this huge print, and they'll be like, "What the hell do I do with this?"
Hey guys, I got an update right now. We're about 7 minutes away from being world champions.
Yes.
Oh,
yay! Go Boston!
Yep. Sorry.
I personally had nothing to do with it.
Right.
I haven't watched the NBA since they took the Sonics away from Seattle. So,
how long has that been?
A long time ago.
I haven't watched the NBA since they closed the Sonics in Wilmington, Massachusetts. And now I can't go through their drive-through for one of their Sonic slushies.
I see what you did. I don't
think I've ever been to a Sonic in my life.
I only been once.
I have.
they're few and far between.
Yeah, they're not even around here. There's one in Springfield or something, right? Or...
Yeah,
I heard they have a drink that's Dr. Pepper and pickles.
I would avoid.
What do they call that?
Wouldn't that just
I can see
I
that.
don't know.
You know, it's funny. Sometimes it could be one of those things where it's like prosciutto and melon, and like it goes well together. You know,
that's true. Yeah. Or apparently watermelon and feta is what people say.
It just sounds weird when somebody says, "Hey, man,
actually,
you want the Dr. Pepper and pickles?"
I'll have you know that I'm Greek, and that's true.
That's a truth. That's a truth. I've never tried.
What is it? What is
watermelon and feta?
Right. It's good.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people do the salads, and I've never
do
tried
a little watermelon and tahini. That's real good shit right there.
Oh, I could get with that. Yeah, that
really.
Okay.
I'll take it on your authority and
let me read a few more comments, and then I want to look at
let's check out the campaigns after we do the comments.
And then because we're closing in on 90 minutes already, which is
I know,
flying right by.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
I just realized.
DS says when it comes to events, I always tell people that they can look at my art and then get into how they heard about the event. I do have a price sign. Yeah, I mean, I do too. I do this price sign, and I talk to them about whatever their T-shirt, whatever they're into, what are they trying to see at the con, things like that. You know, Amy said people are 40% more likely to buy something if they can pick it up and look through it or something like that. And then DS said I'd let them do that too. Brandon is saying I post the price only because there are very introverted people. People with social anxiety that are interested sometimes, and they may want to buy, but they don't want to talk too much. Yeah, that's
I've had that exact thought.
Point those people to the website.
Yeah, you could do that. And then Michelle says we are watching here in Ohio. Go Boston!
Hey. Yeah, my mom's real into the.
Thanks, Tanner's mom.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. So yeah, I want to take a look at both of you guys' things here. So I have actually Tim's not campaigns, but Amazon links for. We got like Melvin Zero edition. We got Melvin number 1 special edition. Oh, it is special edition. Oh yeah, special edition, and then Melvin 2 special edition. Now these are all the single issues, Tim.
Yeah, there's a little extra. Zero has like a 4-page story added to it.
Oh, cool.
That gives a little bit more background to where the cult came from.
I think this is the one you were funding when you came on the show last, because I do remember
that was the added book to the Melvin 3 campaign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because
I love the artwork on this cover too. It's like straight out of the '90s kind of vibe.
It's so metal.
Definitely. Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, it's got like Conan vibes. It's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, my favorite thing is what the candle holders are made out of.
Oh yeah,
one's made out of weapons. The other one's made out of like bones and
skulls. That's great. Yeah, I like that.
Metal.
And then so this is all the single issues, and now how many pages are in each issue?
I think it's like 36, 38. They had to kind of pad it out to like 36 or 38. So there's
this like an homage to a Captain America cover by any chance?
Well, John Dillard drew it, and he's a real good artist. I think so, because he had a shield, and I kind of want to do away with that shield in issue 4. Whoops, spoiler.
Oh, okay.
Whoops.
I like it though. And then number 2, this is so these are all like 36 to 40 page issues.
36 to 38, yeah.
38. That's awesome, man. And did you just start selling them on Amazon, or is this a recent thing?
Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, and various other places. I think that you can find them at Powell's, but I always push the Amazon link because it's quicker to kind of throw it out there.
Yeah, let me share a couple of these links in the chat, so if people want to check out these links on Amazon. Oh, it looks like Amy's already doing it. Thanks, Amy.
Powell's is out west, right?
Yeah, they have a 2-story one in
Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon. Yeah. That's
I've been to that one. I've been to that one actually. I've been to 2 of them. There's 2 of them in Portland, I think.
I wouldn't go to Portland anymore. That place is a real crap hole.
No, if you want to be around artists and writers and musicians and people who are like you know, what do you call them? It's a
Bohemian?
place. No, not hipsters.
Oh yeah.
It's the hipster capital of the world in
It's
Portland.
not the hipsters that's the problem. It's the homeless.
Oh well, that's who doesn't have? I mean, every major city has homeless people. You know, unfortunately, you know, but like, it's
Yeah.
kinda
So the
sad.
comic
Okay.
Melvin,
No,
the number one
Sorry.
Disney Comics
Right.
says that Melvin #1 cover stance reminds me of either Captain America or that Jim Lee image of Batman standing on the edge of the rooftop. Absolutely does.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I can see that for sure. That classic.
Sorry, guys.
Didn't we
My
talk about
apologies
the
about the
last
Portland
time?
thing.
Oh,
No, I mean, we were going down a hole that we were trying to talk about
Yeah.
comics here. So
Comics, yeah. My
I
bad.
don't want to. Yeah, exactly. I don't. So, anyways, so when is issue 3 on the rise?
I want to finish sending out to backers before I get that up there.
Oh, okay. That one's like you finished the campaign recently. And...
Yeah. Well, I mean, like they had quadruple packs that had Melvin Zero in it. I just sent out the second one, so there's no one else getting Melvin Zero. So there's only really the trilogy packs that need to go out.
Gotcha. And then you said you had
Nice.
one more issue before you can collect this into a giant trade paperback kind of thing.
Yeah. So when Melvin Ford comes out, and I promote that a bit. Eventually, we're going to do a trade.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like this will be a great like paperback that you could sell at conventions once it's finished.
You could even do a nice hardcover, like a nice hardcover with a really awesome cover art would sell. Absolutely, would be dope. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you could crowdfund that and put a bunch of pinups in there and a bunch of making of. You know,
people love the hardcovers. Like
I'm thinking about doing that down the road.
For it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd love to do like a compendium one day for Mighty Mascots. Like I'll be starting issue 10 in a couple months, and I'm like thinking, like, oh man, if I get like 15 issues, that could be a nice thick hardcover.
I was gonna ask, what would you think is the minimum for a compendium?
Oh yeah,
jeez, I don't know. Like,
because I mean, a volume is. I mean, I almost want to say like 24 issues, because like you got to think like a volume 6, so it's like it's got to be at least 4 volumes.
We'll just give Keith more work to do.
Yeah,
I have a great title if you do a trade.
Get on it.
I have a great title if you do a trade. You can call it Mighty Mascots Breakfast Volume 1 Breakfast Nook.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I would
like
do something like that probably, or cereal box edition or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, totally.
I would love that. I think that'd be great. And I'd love to just stack it with pinups and like making of and all this like extra
patches and stuff.
That's great. Patches. I really wanted to put some concept art in the giant size Murph, but unfortunately the extra pages brought it up to have to be a saddle stitch, so I couldn't.
Oh, gotcha. That'd be cool. But like I said, Tanner, like I think for you, like you get another issue of Murph out, and I think you have enough there for a paperback anyways.
Do you think you could do a parody of a Sin City cover?
That would be fun. Yeah, that would be awesome, actually. I would love to see that.
That'd be dope as hell.
Yeah, that
cool
definitely
homage.
would be.
Hells yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so everyone check out Melvin. It's on Amazon,
Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble. Yep.
And also, if you just click on your name, all your books would come up, right? Like when you.
Yeah. There's a whole list.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. And then
all 3 of them.
When's the campaign launching for issue 4? Do you have a date in mind yet, or?
Well, I was going to go straight to publishing that one too. That's the thing.
It's what? I'm sorry.
I said I'm going straight to publishing that one too.
Oh, okay. So you're not gonna crowdfund it?
No.
Okay, you're going right to you're gonna just actually do the last issue out of pocket.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, all I gotta do is turn the stuff in, and then they.
Oh, cool.
They handle the rest.
Oh, that's not bad,
that's like
then.
Amazon publishing, right? It's like you submit it, and they kind of just handle everything else.
Yeah. RJ takes care of all that. So.
Oh, good.
Nice.
That's awesome. Whoppertown agrees with me, Tanner. He said, "Write about Murph." Keith is right about so yeah, no, I swear, man, that'd be the way to go with that. Just so you have a graphic novel on your table too. I think that'd be awesome.
It's hard with because half of it's black and white, half of it's color. I originally wanted to colorize the first two, which I did a couple test pages and they looked good, but it would have been too large of a project because I'm trying to move forward. So
what about this, Tanner? I'm starting to see like Marvel's doing this, and IDW just recently did this. They've been doing series like called like Black, White, and Red, where it's like a black. Yeah. Have you thought about doing something like that, making like one color?
I could do that. I could do that with like I could do like a yellow kind of thing. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. And then I could
they just did that with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles too. It's like
you could
black,
do the
white,
cover.
And green.
Like speaking of Sin City too, that's what Sin City did that.
Yeah, Sin City does that too.
You could do a cover where like the only thing's red, and Murph is like, "Oh, look, red."
Yeah, or like the things you could color are the stuff like that he's like stumbling into, or
that's a good idea. I'll check that out.
Yeah, think about that. And then I think if you put that in a book with a colored version, I don't think people would. I don't think it would be weird. I mean, what do you think, Johnny? I don't think that would be weird at all. Like if you collect some of it's in black and white, and some of it's in color.
So I'm debating that right now with my anthology because my Race of the Dead short that I'm going to be collecting into that book, it looks really great in black and white, but the other two stories are intended to be color.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you what's more important? Service.
Well, yeah, and you don't just want to color something for the
sake of coloring. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like a couple more comments about coming in. Wappa Town says yellow kind of thing. Keep your eyes open for what's to come, I guess. And Sean Paris said Tank Girl's compendium is black and white and color. So
that's cool.
I don't think it's a big deal, honestly, Tanner. I mean, it'd
be easier than printing, the different issues to,
it'd be easier than like recoloring them too.
I mean, even just relettering was like a huge undertaking because it's 50.
That I would recommend if the lettering is sloppy. I definitely would recommend.
It was worth it. It's like just looking at it. It's like I feel like it makes the early, even though it's earlier art of mine that's like not quite where I am now, but even just having the better lettering next to it makes it just look that much more
I agree. Like I've lettered some comics that like to look at them it's like ugh. But like the lettering, if you do it nice, it helps sell.
It can make mediocre artwork
look better. Absolutely. Agree with you 100% on that. So awesome. So I definitely recommend that. And so everybody check out Melvin. Like I said, there's a link in the chat. There's also a link in the description of the video if you're watching this tomorrow. And then just click on Timothy's name from there and you can see all the books that he has available.
More to come on that too.
Yeah, more to come, more issues to come, and then eventually a collected edition, which would be awesome. And then we're going to move on over to lesser known comics and check out Murph, which is Tanner's book here. So is this the only place you can get Murph now?
Online. Yeah, it's just on the lesser known shop right now.
I do like your style of art, I must say. Like
thank you.
It's fun and it's like I don't know, there's something to it that I really like.
Thank you.
And this character Murph is just looking at him. You can tell this book is hilarious.
It's like a little bit more cartoony version of Harvey Picar.
Yeah, that's a great,
slightly, or you know what? Like it's somewhere like if you took like if you threw a dart and you landed somewhere in between Harvey Picar and Steve Dillon, that's where you're at.
I don't know what this looks like to me too. Just even this face reminds me. Are you a fan of David Lapham?
Oh, you know what? I hadn't been, but I saw his work recently and love it. It's like very much like it's very much in the school of like what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, like if you look at his series Stray Bullets, like this face, like that's the first thing I thought of is this looks like a David Lapham panel, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
no, that's a high. Yeah, no, his work is very, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I've been a fan for years. I love his stuff so much. But yeah, dude, Tanner, I had no idea you were this good at the art. It's great, man.
Thank you.
Really good stuff.
Yeah, going full color was a really big, I think, jump for me. There's something about like finishing that part of the process that just like, it allows me to push the thematics of a piece, a page, but also allows me to push the lighting a lot farther, and I think it's I've where I first started dabbling with color, it's kind of become like a staple in my style now,
Yeah, so you do everything, huh? You like write, letter, color.
Yeah, yep. With my first anthology series, our story, I had Mark Masdell lettered, but yeah, I've been doing my own lettering as well too.
Awesome, man.
It was tough with the collection we're looking at now. The issue that I ran into with the lettering was I did the lettering on the actual page.
Okay.
So I was kind of limited.
Oh, so you drew the lettering on there.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay.
So then I had to, when I was relettering it, it's over top of the existing lettering, so I was a little bit
so limited, you were kind of trapped into what was there.
Yeah, it looks cleaner, but there's still like some bubble choices that I had to live with, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I recommend anytime lettering comes up, pick up this book sometime by Nate Picos. Let me hold it up here.
What is that?
Grab this book.
Cool. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
this will change your life as far as lettering goes. It's totally worth it. And like you see how thick it is, like this, it's like the just the discussion of lettering in it, and just
it's
everything
such an
like
part.
Oh yeah,
you don't think too much about it when you're reading it, but like ever since I started lettering, I pay so much more attention to it now, and it's
What's one piece of lettering, like a good tip to give somebody?
Me?
Anybody that letters, you or Tanner? Or...
You have to. So to be a letterer, you should also kind of be an artist a little bit, I think, because lettering is almost like you're part of the art team in a way, because lettering is almost like working with a design, like it's incorporating word balloons into this existing artwork, and
it helps it helps flow the page a lot, and you really have to think about that, like you have to design the lettering in a way that, because when you design a page and you're drawing, you're trying to draw the eye to follow through the page, but the lettering is really like, if a page is designed well enough, the lettering like takes it that step farther, that takes you there.
No, you don't draw with the idea of where the lettering might go, right? You just draw whatever.
Oh no, you have to
kind of think about it, Harry. It's because it's like you don't want to fill the entire panel and not leave room for
so if you have a panel that's like close up of a character and they have a long line of dialogue, if you make that panel a rectangle and their face is the whole rectangle, there's nowhere to put that lettering. So you really have to there's I try to think in like a rule of thirds or like 2/3, like that you really like, and it doesn't necessarily mean you don't draw there. Like I draw a lot of background, but it's just about you really have to leave that space, because if the space isn't there, you might even be able to put the lettering on, but like when you talk about the flow of the page again, it's like you might force the letterer, or yourself if you're the letterer, to have to put that lettering down in a way that doesn't really flow well. You know what I mean? Where it's like, like one of the big things, for example, is like making sure that you draw. You don't have to do this, but making sure you're drawing the characters in the panel in order that makes sense for the dialogue. So if you have like 4 characters and they talk in like 1, 2, 3, 4, but you draw them 3, 2, 4, 1.
Yeah, it's like and you can't have
you have to read left to right.
Tails.
Yeah,
and crossing the tails is a nightmare. And like that book talks about all that stuff. I mean, I've had those situations. You just kind of figure out how the
Oh yeah, there's a page.
work.
There's a page in Murph Blunderdog. I think it's 14, but yeah, where it wasn't too bad. But it just took like I just hadn't done the ordering very well, and it just took me like where a lot of sometimes lettering takes you like maybe like 30 minutes to an hour. It took me like 3 hours because I was like, how the hell do I have to make this work? You know? Yeah,
I've said it
that's
before.
when you start rewriting.
Is,
you know, like you
yeah,
start
no, I had
rewriting
to.
it.
You have to cut some lines or whatever.
Yeah.
Or add them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just saying. I said it before. Lettering is as integral to a comic as a score is to a film.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, and then you don't even mention, you know, because like regardless of spacing and stuff like that, the font choice is super important. You know, it has to
absolutely
has to match the weight of the line work. It has to match the vibe of the story. You know, like I've done since Murph here. I did a short story with Travis. I did the Lightkeeper book, and I just started this new book, which that's all that stuff is horror. You know, or more in the horror vein anyway. So, and for each one of those projects, I've had a different font because you know, you throw, you know, you don't think about it, but then you look at this page and you throw the same, you know, when I threw the same font from Murph onto this page of like a witch's hut, I was like, nope, like this doesn't work at all.
Yeah, not as multi-applicable.
Yeah,
everyone knows Comic Sans.
Yeah,
yeah, or
Papyrus.
Couple comments about lettering here, which is great. Let me see.
We're world champions, by the way, guys. World champions.
That's the Celtics fans out there.
Yeah, right.
Tanner doesn't even know he's receiving praise from hero and people. That's great.
He sent me a text too privately about it, where he's like, I can't believe you're talking to these guys. He was wicked.
Oh, that's awesome.
He was wicked into the show. Like,
was he really? Tell him thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's awesome that we have fans that remember the show. That's great. Sean says the letters need to feel like it belongs with the art too. Yeah, 100%. Whopper says, hey, Tanner, do you feel like you do all the work of an entire film production team? You write and draw scenes with AI becoming the way it is. Yeah, I know. Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really, it is a lot, you know, and it's like, there's a lot of elements, you know, like sometimes I think about like, man, it would be nice to just be a penciler, you know, like it would be real nice to just,
well, I mean, as you grow and you make more stuff, Tanner, I think that'll probably become more your thing, you know?
Oh yeah, I think about it, but then on the other hand though too, it's like, you know, like I said about with the color, like as hard as it is, I really like being in control of all that stuff, you know, because like not, you know, and I collaborate with people, you know, I collaborate with Travis and it goes well. I collaborated with Mark and his lettering went well, and but you know, so you know, and I don't want to be unopen to collaboration, but there is something really nice because like about taking it in the whole process, because you realize, you know, you start to realize things about the work that you didn't, you know, like you didn't think about, you know what I mean? Like,
and if you screw up, you can yell yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
which I've done. I've been in the coloring process and been like, this, like, what were you thinking? This lighting,
yeah, right.
Like this lighting doesn't make sense, you know, like these shadows are juxtaposed to each other, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
But
that's great.
Yeah, but I do, you know, like my goal at this point is to not
just produce.
Yeah, to just be quicker at producing it myself, you know, and which, you know, doing 2 pages a week now with a full-time job, like I think, you know, like if I was doing this full time, I think I could at least produce 3 pages a week, maybe 4. You know, which is not too far off of a monthly book schedule, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, Tanner, what do you do for a full-time job? And does it in any way influence or support or kind of benefit your comics creating self?
So I'm a cook. I cook. That's what I've been doing for years. I work at a restaurant called Daily Operation in East Hampton. Great spot, great food, great guys. It's hard work, you know, but the way that it benefits me right now is I'm actually able to do, exactly. I'm able to do pretty much full-time hours in 3 days. That's so I work, you know, 12-hour shifts 3 days a week. So I get close to a full-time schedule and I have 4 days off in which I can focus.
That's awesome.
On
that's
work.
Key.
And you know, I have a tight schedule. You know, it's like I know it's like pencils for one page Monday, pencils for one page.
Wait, let me check the math here. You don't have any days off?
No.
He's taking the Tom Brady approach.
No, occasionally, if I'm ahead on work or whatever, or like, you know, like I'm actually off this week. They closed the restaurant for a week, so like I gave myself like last Thursday I went and hung out with a friend, and I took the whole day. I went on the lake with them and stuff, you know. And but most of the week, no, I don't. It's very hard to find time for myself, you know. And I'm just like a workaholic where I unless, you know, my girlfriend Gabby, she's a saint, and she will make me to give myself time, or, you know, she'll be like you know, like hang out with me, or like, let's do, like, you don't have to always be drawing, because I will, you know, because
I like that you have that drive, man. That's what you need to be successful, is like you got to put the time and the work in, you know.
Yeah, and that's, you know, and that's like going back to conventions, like I was talking to, that's one of the lessons that I've learned about comics, you know, with meeting artists at conventions, and I listen to a lot of podcasts about it. I listen to, like, you know, off panel stuff like that, where you see artists talk about it, and that is, you know, that is really what it takes. Is you just have to you know, you have to get 300 bad pages out of you, and then the thing about the comic industry too is it doesn't stop. You know, like the more successful you get, the more you have to work. You know, like,
well, that, and it's getting smaller by the day. I mean, like, there's rumors DC might be shutting down, and
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I heard something about it, but they so we'll see where the, you know, comics are always going to be around. Just
I think it's going to the indie world.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. That's where talking, the best stuff's coming from. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know,
speaking of
nature abhors a vacuum.
Yeah, exactly. Like, speaking of Wapatown, who's been commenting, I was hanging out with him earlier today, and I you know, I was talking about the sustainability of DC and Marvel, because, like, you know, obviously everybody loves DC and Marvel, love those characters, but, you know, we're getting to a point where, you know, you're coming on 100 years. You know, Superman and Batman are both going to be 100 years old in the next decade, or slightly over, and that's going to become public domain. And, you know, and it's just like, you know, like maybe they'll turn into something like Frankenstein and Dracula are, where they're public domain, and people will probably always make Batman stories, will always make Superman stories. But to continue this never-ending narrative that they've continued is exhausting, and it doesn't really work all the time. It's so rare that you get something that exists in that narrative that makes sense and that feels good. Right. You know, and when you look at, you know, the comic properties or the comic books that have really been huge hits over the past 20 years, they're rarely Marvel or DC products. They're The Walking Dead, they're Stray Bullets, they're you know, they're things like that, where these independent properties, you know, outside of the superhero genre, outside, you know, are you know, what's making it, and that's where I think the industry is heading, really.
Yeah.
What more could you do with these characters? They've done everything. They just keep,
well, and everybody's got ideas, but they're also derivative. You know, like you know, it's hard to find something good. You know, and it exists. You know, like I think the Incredible Hulk right now with Philip Kennedy Johnson in general is doing a great job with Incredible Hulk and with Action Comics, like that stuff. Is all
Inner
great.
John Universe is amazing right now. Jeff John's Ghost Machine is putting out some awesome stuff.
But like, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
All right, so Junkyard Joe, Geiger, Rook, and Redcoat are amazing books. So yeah, go ahead. That's all I wanted to say.
Like the example that I can think of, and you know, is that like the super. Have you with Action Comics? So Philip Kennedy Johnson's run was amazing. Like some of these beautiful,
I like his writing.
Superman moments that are just like quintessential to the character, like really well, compelling stories. The whole, the whole Blue Planet thing with like that was all great. And then. And you know, and I don't want to disparage people, comic creators, but like I don't know if you read the Jason Aaron 3-issue story,
the one with Bizarro.
I was like, it was just boring. It was just like, you know, like coming from the, you know, and that's what I feel like is good. Like it's just so hard to find something that's genuinely good in mainstream comics right now, you know. And I don't think it's because people aren't talented. I think it's because, you know, like Tim said, the stories have just been told, you know.
I've seen them. Yeah. I've seen them a million times, or a variation of the story.
And that's why these independent properties get big, I think, because, you know, you have comic fans that are seeking something fresh and seeking something exciting, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
I think that's why you can point to the success of Immortal Hulk, because that was a great reinvention of the character.
Incredible. Yeah.
Right.
Incredible.
And then you look at the new Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that's a like not necessarily a reinvention, but kind of like elaborating on the adult Spider-Man, the family man. Now
I haven't checked that out yet.
Yeah, but I think
you should. It's
things
great.
like that.
Yeah,
I love the old Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I think it's things like that go against the grain of what we normally read in superhero comics.
Yeah, this one's interesting,
sustaining it right
too,
now,
because it's like the premise is if Peter Parker became Spider-Man when he was 30 instead of 16.
That's
so
cool.
like,
so it's not like
think about
Spider-Man is older now. It's like he became.
His life went on. He got married to Mary Jane and had kids, and then he was offered the Spider-Man power.
Wow.
And then like think about how naive he would be as an adult. It's great stuff. Really good.
That does sound really great. I'll have to check that out.
Totally recommend it, especially if you like Jonathan Hickman. And also another Jonathan
Hickman's book. Doing that?
Yeah, Hickman's doing it.
Yeah, that's great. Well,
his God's book.
Oh yeah,
heard about that. Marvel is chef's kiss. Awesome.
Yeah, his, and that's, speaking of Hickman, like one of my biggest gripes right now with Marvel is that they're ending the Krakoan era.
Yeah,
Hickman.
Well, I think once he left,
be careful because I haven't entirely caught up yet. So
okay, but what I was going to say is when he left, that's when the Krakoa stuff kind of fell apart.
Yeah, and it's like it was so refreshing to he's like, especially with X-Men, because X-Men is something that's like was always the decidedly formulaic, to come in and be bold enough to be like, okay, like we're gonna anytime that's like worthy of talking about in comics is when people did this, is when you come in and you say like we're gonna change the status quo, like it's not going to be something that's a one-time story that gets undone, like the status quo is shifting and it's got to be like that. And he did it well, and it was so
People
good.
were excited about it again,
and I was ready to have that be X-Men from now on, and I was okay with it. And the fact that, and I don't know where they're going now with it, with the fall.
I read the preview today. It's not.
Is it just the fucking school again? Because if it's just the school again, I'm gonna be pissed.
It seems a little bit like that. It seems a little bit like that, but it's weird because like Beast is older, Cyclops is younger, but Cyclops is leading the team still, and then there's all these like peripheral characters like who I don't know who they are, but they're being written like I'm expected to. You know what I mean? And it's just like I don't know. I don't like the way Beast looks. Beast looks like Beast if he was played by Steve Buscemi. Like he does not look very well.
That is a weird.
Not look drawn well. Hold on.
Let me down.
Let me see if I can get this up.
It's terrible. I wish
As
that
you
they
start-
just kept with the Krakoan era. It was
it was
truly something
fresh.
special.
I think it just when Hickman left, it kind of became unfocused, and like everyone has their was bringing it in a weird direction, and I think that's what killed it. And also too many books. Like that's Marvel. Whenever they have a hit, they love to shove it down your throat.
They love to run things into the ground. Remember?
Big time.
Well, and I think
Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity Crusade, Infinity War.
One of my issues with that too was that as much as I love that era, I didn't like that I felt like they put a lot of the good stories into those auxiliary books when there was that like the first issue of the first run of X-Men was just like random one-shot stories, and it's like you should have the bulk of the story be in the X-Men title, you know what I mean? Like not.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, it does look like Buscemi.
What the hell?
How terrible does that look?
Yeah.
Wait, who's the artist?
Honestly, I don't know, but I'm not a fan of it. I don't
weird.
like it.
He's like, I mean,
just click through here for you.
Is he at least regular Beast and not like psycho libertarian fucking like X-Force Beast?
he's acting like regular Beast, but I don't trust these black circles around his eyes.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's studying too hard. He looks like his head's too small, kind of.
Yep. And then so it looks like they added Juggernaut to the main team, which is interesting and kind of weird. Again, Cyclops looks like a teenage kid, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
I don't know how they got here.
It doesn't excite me at all. It looks
like
I'm gonna back to status quo there.
I'm gonna keep buying it because I have like my titles that I always buy, you know.
Yep.
And I don't want to break the chain, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna be happy about it, you know.
If your store has Ultimate X-Men, not Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Spider-Man, see if you can get that one.
I'll take it out because I actually dropped the regular Spider-Man title because they stopped doing it, so I have a space in my pull. So
yeah, see if you can get that. I know they're on like the 10th printing of #1, but like,
oh wow, really? Damn.
Yeah, it was that big of a hit. So like, but it's worth it. All right, so we're at like 2 hours and 5 minutes, so I'm gonna start to wrap this show up. I mean, I could talk comics all freaking.
Oh, me too, man. I have my
45 hours later.
For sound reason, and I'm starting to sweat. So
yeah. So as we wrap up, if you guys want to start sharing out like anywhere social media where people can find you, and I'd say Tim, why don't you start us off?
All right. Well, you can find me on Facebook under Olsmax. It's a long story. That was my backup Facebook page.
Okay.
Got nuked. The original one got nuked, so that's where I am on Facebook. And then Timothy Olson on Twitter.
Okay. Perfect.
Tim Olson on Twitter. Yeah.
Tim Olson on Twitter. All right. Perfect. How about you, Tanner? Where are you these days on social media?
So I've got a few. I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook, and I actually just started that app Kara, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with.
I've been hearing about it.
It's pretty cool. I got on it because it's like it's something that's starting fresh, so I wanted to kind of get in on ground zero. Maybe I can get a better following than on Instagram, but everywhere it's at Tanner T Ogle, all one word.
Okay.
And I also have tannertogle.com, my website. If you can look at some of my prints and buy some of my previous books. I also got a gallery up there that I update fairly regularly, not super regularly, but Tanner T Ogle everywhere, and lesserknowncomics.com. I think soon at least I'll have a way to filter by creator, but I've got all that stuff up there and the Murph books, and then watch out in August for Lightkeeper.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. Harry, anything you want to shout out this week?
Not really. I mean, I'm still working on like different projects. I entered a contest for I don't know if I told you that the Lowell Orchestra, or no, the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra had a contest for their T-shirt design, and I submitted one. So we'll find out.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
I mean, it's I'm very like we were talking about earlier with the whole AI business. Like I drew mine from an idea that I had, and I drew it, by hand, and I did it. Then I, did it on the computer, in Illustrator. I redrew it. But I'm wondering, is there a rule about using AI? I don't know if people are entering it with like AI work or not, but we'll see. Whatever. I mean,
hopefully that's not happening.
I know I'm pretty happy with my submission. I mean, you can submit more than one, like 3 of them, but I like my because like basically it's for the I don't know if, you're from the area. So Lowell, I was trying to figure out what I can do for the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra. So when I typed in Lowell on I Googled Lowell whatever, but the actual outline of the city of Lowell looks like a piano. So I just threw keys on it and added like a backdrop of Lowell.
Hey, that sounds like they might be into that.
Yeah, we'll see. So I mean, whatever. I'm just hoping to like get an honorable mention at least. Whatever. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'll let you guys know.
All right,
fingers crossed.
That's cool.
So, thanks.
Harry, I mean, not Harry. Johnny, how about you? Anything you want to shout out this week before we wrap it up?
You have a screen share waiting there for you, Keith.
Oh yeah,
and I'm gonna jot through a few campaigns I want to feature right now, real quick. First one up is Grant Stay Punk. It is our friend Travis Gibb, who comes on the show, or hasn't been on the show. Rather, we want to get him on the show. But he
we haven't
pops into
settled on
the
a
show.
date, right? Like, have
What's
we
that?
with him? We haven't settled on a date yet with him, have we?
Yeah, I think we have a communication out. We're just waiting on that. But he always pops into the chat usually, and real nice guy. He's got this campaign running. It's ending soon. It's got 6 days to go. So give a shout on that. Then if we're gonna skip right next to the next one here, maybe. Can I do that? Oh, maybe not. All right,
go ahead.
Hang
share
on
again.
Yeah, I'll share again. Hang on. It doesn't let me jump tab to tab. I think I have to.
Oh, it doesn't. It should.
No, I have to reshare every time. That's weird.
Oh, that's
but
weird.
Next one is this campaign I just came across called Space Cruising, and I'm just going to read the opening line. Here is what sold me: a Bushido warrior and an alien obsessed with pop culture and an obsolete android travel the galaxy hunting for Earthling artifacts.
Oh, tight.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
sold.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Right?
I love it. I love
great.
it when something can sell me in a 1-sentence pitch. I'm just
right. Yeah. And that totally sold me there. Let's see if I can do the next tab here without having to share this tab instead. Boom, there we go. I did it.
Nice.
Our good friend. Wow, we just saw it rise up. Look at that. So the campaign is called Rise. It's from our good friend Trevor Linkowitz. He's been on the show before. It's a
Trevor,
superhero story. It's basically kind of subverting the superhero's journey.
Okay.
It's got 29 days left to go. Highly recommend that. And then the last thing I wanted to shout out was a good friend, George O'Connor. It's not active yet, but launching soon. Vampires and Mars, issues 1 and 2. I read issue 1. Awesome story. Can't wait to read issue 2. Looking forward to when that launches. Hopefully we'll have him on the show. But last but not least, I want to just take a moment to thank Tim and Tanner for, taking the time to come on the show, sharing your projects with us, sharing your time with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. It's
this was
a pleasure
fun.
to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
We loved having you guys.
I know we
tells
go off,
because we've gone so long.
Yeah, we go off topic a lot, but it was a fun conversation.
That's what makes a good podcast,
Quick one.
My
too,
work here is done.
Yeah,
My work here is done.
I love it.
Well, I don't know. Oh, sorry.
What'd you say, Tanner?
I would say I'll talk to you. Maybe I'd like to maybe come on with Travis when that Lightkeeper comes out in August.
Yeah, when are you guys planning on launching that?
That's going to be so lesser known comics, which used to be they used to do Kickstarter platforms. They're starting to do batches of books released at the beginning of the month every first Tuesday. So we're going to be on the August batch of books.
The August. Let me take a quick look.
But once it's up, it's up. So we can come on and talk about it anytime. So
yeah, no,
Cool.
looks like we're currently let me see.
We're booked out a little bit. We can talk offline.
Yeah, we're currently booking for October and
that sounds great. Yeah.
September. So maybe we can put you in for a slot, in that month or something.
Yeah, and then we'll probably have the other book coming up after that, so it'll be a good in between time. Come on.
Yeah, that'd actually be great. Yeah, because we're trying to stay to our bi-weekly schedule, just because, especially with con season and everyone's got stuff going on, and doing the weekly shows is kind of killing our productivity. So on other things, I just don't want to be a YouTuber full time. I want to be a comic creator.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a balance.
So it's I do. Yeah, exactly. I want to do YouTube just enough, So, but anyways, yeah. So we'll talk maybe after the show here and try to book something for October or whatever. Cool. But yeah, all right. I thank you guys both for coming on. As always great to see your projects and everything. And I'm going to go ahead and close out this episode. Anyone have any final words before I close this one out?
World champions. Woo!
Gravy.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, everybody. Have a great week. We'll be back in 2 weeks and read some comics, everybody. And have a great night. All right. Talk to you later.
Be excellent to one another.
Adios.